Hello there, I'm Cortland Mallory and welcome to the Straight Facts Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about MLMs, which stands for multi-level marketing. So you might have seen this all around the world and you might be wondering, why am I wearing this shirt if this is what we're talking about? Well, that's because the main people that MLMs target are between the ages of 16 and 29. Mainly college and high school age students, especially college and graduate level college students. These are the perfect people that MLMs love to target, and we're gonna get into the hows and whys now. So an MLM, like we said, stands for multi-level marketing company, but what is it? You'll notice some of the key characteristics of MLMs by way of not being very transparent in terms of what their business is, how much money they make, where the money is coming from, as well as a lot of the key factors of who's their CEO and what do you need to do to get an employment offer, right? So when someone is really dodgy about employment offers and actually direct information and pushing you into a sort of webinar or other type of video, that's a bit of a red flag. But in these videos or webinars, it tends to be the same thing. Tons of buzzwords about financial freedom and making generational wealth, as well as getting out of the 9-to-5, breaking the rat race. I mean, there's a whole culture of anti-9-to-5, don't get a job. And this is all across them. What you need to know is that MLMs can take a structure within any industry: insurance, real estate, healthcare, finance. I mean, you will see an MLM structure everywhere, literally in these industries that I've just named, as well as many other. I mean, there are makeup ones, and there's a lot of MLMs out there, and they all take a lot of the same characteristics. So the real question is, why are these important? And what are some of the stats behind them? So they're important because they involve and enroll a lot of people. I mean, I've been in some, you've probably been in some, someone you know is probably in one. And here's the alarming point: 74 to 90% by design of folks who are enrolled in an MLM don't make minimum wage or greater. I'm gonna say that again. 74 to 90% of folks enrolled in MLMs do not make minimum wage or greater. This is a big deal because what you'll notice is there's a persistent culture of these folks who push MLMs to show wealth, especially wealth that's backed by debt, and other things that just aren't really in alignment with what true wealth looks like. And it's just kind of off. It's just like we're off base a little bit. Like we just don't talk to people the same way anymore. And it's interesting to research the 1%. So what about that 10%, right? What about the 10% of folks who are enrolled in MLMs who do make as much money as the MLM promised, and they're living the life, right? I mean, if you're a little black boy who's watching this right now thinking, well, I can use this MLM to make my own riches, why don't I do it? What does it look like once I get there? We want to talk about that side of things. Well, the interesting thing is you've got to imagine, and if you could try, imagine the psychological impact in all of the minds of the people you would have enrolled to get to the place you need to be. Now, if your upline is promising that 10 people enrolled, 100 people enrolled, 500, however many people need to be enrolled or under you, what is the psychological impact of those people's looking at your now reputation built around this? What is the impact of that? And how would you need to respond? What folks are finding in a lot of MLM structures is that the product is overpriced and low quality, which leads to people not having the greatest experience. People not having the greatest experience means that they're going to transfer their anger onto the representative who connected them with the opportunity. That would be you, or it would be me. So the amount of people that you upset perhaps is worth the money to you. It's not worth the money to me, knowing that people are more important than objects and money. However, thinking about what life looks like for the 1%, they are actually friends with each other. So you'll notice that folks within MLMs who reach a certain wealth level will only actually interact, especially publicly, with others who are in the exact same company in a similar wealth level. This actually effectively cuts their network from the outside world and silos their professional approach to doing business. this has both positive and negative effects. I mean, it makes you much, much better at generally being, the kind of person that you are, the one who can get somebody sold on the product, who can get somebody enrolled, and essentially you make the sale. You're a great salesman. That is the positive. Now, on the negative is that you sort of end up lacking in actual professional depth, and you lack the real network effectiveness of actually knowing all the people that you've come to meet. I mean, imagine if you met me attempting to enroll me into an MLM structure, and now I see you as an MLM pusher and we don't really have a relationship, versus the person who has had a relationship with me and we've collaborated on multiple projects and blah, blah, blah. So the difference there is pretty major. I mean, the MLM person could always say, oh, you're not interested? That's fine. So what else do you do? Let's take an interest on a more personal level. The biggest difference between running your own company and peddling an MLM company is ownership. If you do not own your own LLC, if you do not own your own business, you are not a business owner. If you do not own your own business, if you do not own an LLC or an other structured business with your local, state, or national government, you are not a business owner. Those who are enrolled in MLMs generally use the mantra of, I'm a business owner. This is my business. I will grow my business. While in fact, you are growing someone else's book of business. This is very important to understand because this is, ironically, the same message that a lot of MLMs give to justify your enrollment. An IPO, we talked about in a previous video, related to stocks, is what happens when a company decides to go public. MLMs, some of them, do have the capability of going public. When they do, a lot of times they like to promise to certain folks who are enrolled, who get to a certain level, that they might have equity stake in that IPO should the day ever come. Now, that is still valuable. Having an IPO stake, even in an MLM, can be extremely valuable if that day ever comes and if you ever get your equity stake. So there's two things that need to happen for that. First, the company needs to pass the IPO process, and secondarily, the company needs to actually make some money in order for you to make any money. Now, if it crashes, and you're just as much out of luck as all the other investors who didn't get a chance to get in early. This matters because, well, in essence, the amount of money that you put into it is actually what they use to valuate themselves. So what you'll notice internally is that MLMs actually make you purchase their own product and make your downline purchase the MLM's product in perpetuity to continue being verified to sell their product. This means that all of the sales that they report in their numbers are really just their producers buying the product to continue being producers, and very little of it is actually new incoming sales. This is how MLMs continue to pop up and be popular. I mean, don't get me wrong, MLMs can be very, very legit business models. I mean, insurance companies do purchase sometimes MLMs as consulting arms. I mean, if you just look at Travelers Insurance, for example, who purchased their own MLM to do the exact same process. It's very legitimate business. Essentially, they view it as a marketing arm. It's free sales for them that continuously generate themselves. Not only do you go out and you sell the insurance policy, but you also sell the idea of selling anything, and that makes another person start selling, and the insurance carrier is very happy that all these people have their policies. So it does end up working for folks, and you should view it in a positive learning manner. Do join one. Understand the structure, understand where you fit into the bigger picture, because this is foundational for understanding how bigger, more legitimate, and more finer tuned businesses run. If you don't understand MLMs, it'll be super, super difficult to understand any business model more difficult. They're everywhere, they're a dime a dozen, they're very easy to get enrolled in, and so long as you have the psychological strength to understand exactly what's going on and take all of your learning outcomes away, you'll be absolutely fine. So I hope that you got a lot of value out of today. I hope you learned a lot about multi-level marketing as well as some of the different business models that it can take. I hope that you recognize some of the CEOs of some of these businesses are very, very important. I mean, Donald Trump has been involved in MLMs. You've got Warren Buffett, who's got his own real estate company that has a bit of an MLM function to it. You've got PHP and Patrick Bet-David. These are all very legit guys in one way or another, but they've all been involved with MLMs because this is a very common and very realistic business structure that you will find. So if you found some value from this video, please like it, comment, share. Make sure everybody gets a chance to see this so that your friends know how to keep their mind right going into this MLM thing, or keeping their mind right and avoiding this MLM thing. And follow me at What You Know Quan, as well as the podcast at Straight Facts TV. I can't wait to see you here the next time we talk. Have a great one. Bye. If you're looking to start up your long-term investment portfolio, check out Stash. With Stash, you can invest in ETFs and other long-term securities. Get $20 in free stock when you use my link below. Come get started with me in long-term investing with Stash.